Hi, welcome. What a beautiful day to unbox the new iPad mini. So I'm a couple days late to this because, surprisingly, Apple didn't send me any review units. I mean, come on guys, get your act together, pick up your game. So I had to order this through the website like a normal person. And so the website crashed several times, which I'm super surprised about. And by the time that it actually went through, the earliest that I could pick it up was today. But anyway, let's have a look. So I got the Starlight. I actually really love the look of the purple one, but I thought I'm gonna go with Starlight because it's a color that we have never seen before, you know? It's a brand new Apple weird color. Let's check it out because I don't know exactly what to expect. Apple's a bit funny with their colors. It's like they either go with blue, pink, purple, silver, or they go kind of space themed. Like we had space gray, not regular gray, space gray from space, midnight, and now I guess Starlight. There's actually not as many space examples as what I thought there was. But you know, then they have something sometimes like Sierra blue and Arctic blue and things. Anyway, this is Starlight, just so you know. I also chose the new Lavender purple, I believe it is, smart Folio case as well. So, and very conveniently, if you didn't notice, the woman, when I picked this up from the Apple store, was very impressed by this. They fit so perfectly in this bag. It's like, yes, create bags for your product. Anyway, you know what I mean. So here they are. We've got the 64 gigabyte, 6th generation iPad mini in Starlight. And then we've got the Lavender, English Lavender Smart Folio case. So, this was $95, by the way, which I feel like is incredibly steep. 95 Australian dollars. Don't worry, Americans, it's not that expensive, but it's still that expensive. Let's put the Smart Folio to the side and let's start unboxing the iPad mini 6th generation. I love they've got tabs now. So satisfying. Ooh. Though I thought I saw online that they were doing away with plastic wrap on these. Maybe that was wrong, because I was thinking, how do they keep them secure? They could probably just put a sticker on, like one of those like anti-break stick. Anyway, you know what I mean. How should I do this? What's the best? It's smaller. It's even smaller than what you think it is. Like, anyway, I don't know how I'm gonna. What's the best angle? Love it. Oh yeah, so I've got the paper wrapping on it instead of the plastic, which is good. This is much better for the environment long term. Should I? Okay, yeah, cool. So, classic iPad mini, manual, paperwork, all that boring shite. And then they've just got white stickers. I was kind of hoping they'd go with, you know, color matching the stickers like they did with the new iMacs, but yeah, whatever. It's fine, Apple. And of course it comes with a USB-C to USB-C cable, and somewhat surprisingly, but not super surprisingly, I guess, some people might have been curious, it does also come with a power brick, and this is what they look like in Australia. So yeah, that's probably good because not everyone would be buying an iPad that has an iPhone with a power brick. I don't know, whatever, Apple logic. I support their idea to cut back on electronics because I do think that a lot of people will have like an excess of chargers and stuff. I just kind of wish that they'd make the phones a little bit cheaper considering they were doing that. But anyway, let's open this. Just very satisfying the way that it just peels off. Oh my god. It's gonna get covered in my fingerprints immediately. Oh shit. Okay, I got distracted without looking at the color. Yeah, okay. To me, guys, I immediately think gold because there's been so much variation in Apple's gold colored products that I look at this and I'm just like, yeah, they could have just said this is gold and I would have been like, It does look very pretty. It does give a real like premium feel, having something that looks this precious metally, if that makes sense. It looks like gold, all right? It looks goldy. But it is quite a pale gold. I'm not sure how you would describe this. How would you describe this? If I had another gold Apple product to compare this to, I would, but I don't, so I guess we're just gonna have to live with it. But this is like, is this about? I really should have cut my nails. How embarrassing. Just realized I forgot to cut my nails, guys. I'm in lockdown, so give me a break. I think this is a bit smaller than what I expected it to be. Maybe? Maybe it's just the fact that the head and the chin are gone now. The forehead and the chin, whatever. The top and bottom bezels are gone now, essentially, so maybe that's why. So yeah, it's a bit smaller than I thought. I've got fairly large hands, I guess, like long hands, and I can easily hold this betwixt my fingers, which is great. It's very light, very easy to move around. You may have noticed that they have moved the volume buttons to the top, depending on how you look at this. I mean, most of the time people are probably gonna be holding their iPad like this, but I think most people still refer to the top as where the power button is and the bottom as where the charge point is. So if you look here, they have moved the volume buttons to the top of the iPad, and the simple reason for that is the fact that it is now compatible with the second generation Apple Pencil, and that takes up pretty much the entirety of the side here, so they had to move it. I did at first think like, why don't they just move the volume buttons to the left-hand side? But that's because when you're watching something, or when you're having it in landscape mode, it's gonna have to sit on that side, so that didn't make sense either. But I mean, like most people, yeah, they're gonna be holding their iPad thusly when they're using it a lot of the time, and they can use the fingerprint sensor there, and they can adjust volume here. So I don't think it's a huge deal. I think it makes a lot of sense, actually. The one thing that I'm not super fond of in this design, I don't know why they did it, but this is just my wanting to organize everything sort of mindset. So if we look at the speaker grills at the top, this one has more holes than what this one does, which kind of annoys me. It's like, couldn't you have just moved it along slightly? There's 8 here and 6 here, and it's just like, did you need to do that, Apple? Did you really need to do that? Anyway, so you may think, surely they could have crammed the buttons in there anyway, but I think if we, yeah, it does not leave a lot of space for much else. So they pretty much needed to make this iPad as tall as they did, because otherwise it wouldn't fit the Apple Pencil. But I think this is going to be great just for like general like doodling, quick notes. Like it's like a little notebook, but digital, right? Okay, so let's turn it on. Let's turn it on. Not very even. Hello. Hi. Okay. English. This needs setting up. So before I do that, I'm going to show you what the case looks like. First things first, Alex, don't get ahead of yourself. Okay, so do I need to? I can't help but feel there's something locking this in, but maybe it's just okay. Da, 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 da. Both the people I spoke to at the Apple Store seemed quite impressed that I chose the English Lavender case. And that's because I thought like the purple iPad didn't look that purple, but this case looks quite purple. But now that I've said that, in real life it is quite a lavender color. You know, it is sort of that blue purple. It's not vibrant sort of purple as it kind of looks on the website, and even sort of how it looks on this Folio case. I don't know if you can tell the difference. It might be quite subtle online compared to in real life, but there is definitely a more bluey tinge to this than what there is in the promotional material and the front. See, I also expected this to have like to clip in, but it's a magnet, which is good. I like the whole magnet thing. It's very clean, but I guess it doesn't protect the tops and bottoms, which is my concern. That's my concern with the keyboard Folio case for the iPad Pro. Anyway, let's I smashed it. Great. Oh. Okay, that's very satisfying. That's very streamlined. Dang, I love it. It just feels so efficient. I don't know about you guys, but I think the Starlight and the English Lavender look quite good together. So you can just, yeah. Fold it back. Yeah, and when you fold it back as well, it also snaps there to the back. This one literally magnetizes at each point. Yeah, I don't know if my 9.7-inch iPad Pro case just wasn't an official one, so it didn't do this, but it was always kind of loosely flopping around. I had to hold it there with my hand. It also has that soft side there, so when you're putting it straight onto a wooden surface that you care about when you're doodling or whatever, it's not going to scratch up that surface, at least not as easily. All right, so let me set this up and I'll get back to you in a second. All right, so this is pretty much ready to go. Setting up Touch ID. Cool. So I guess, yeah, to keep it a little bit cheaper, they've not put Face ID in this thing like they have in the iPad Pro models, but they do have Touch ID at the top too, which is great because a lot of people prefer this. And if you are out and about with it, it probably makes more sense actually. Like, this is a very portable iPad, and because everyone's wearing face masks these days, it's probably easier to just use Touch ID than what it is to use Face ID. And another fingerprint. Oh yeah, so if you are holding it this way, you might be, yes, okay, great. Move finger. You know what's weird is that I set up Quick Start before and it was loading and it's like it's just decided it doesn't know what to do anymore. So let me just quick start this with my iPad Pro. This whole set up your iPad from an existing iPad is a little bit dodgy. This is going really well for me so far. After it finally connected, my iPad Pro was like, finish setup on your new iPad. And this one just said, preparing to transfer. No status bar, no anything, just preparing to transfer. And I was like, okay, maybe it's actually transferring, it's just saying preparing for some reason. So 20 minutes later, 22 minutes later, nothing had happened. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna cancel it on my iPad Pro. And then it's like, oh, well, because you canceled it, we need to restore your iPad to factory settings. So this one just got factory reset all the way back to the start because it wouldn't bloody set up. Why are you being such a shit? Well, I really wanted to give you a bit of a quick first impressions at the end of this unboxing video, but it doesn't seem like this is going to work out for me. But before I wrap this up, let's go over a couple of other things about this new iPad. So firstly, it does have that new center stage camera at the top, which is surprising. So the new iPad Pros came with this feature. Essentially, it is a ultra wide camera that tracks you as you move around the room. Like it detects your face and follows you on video calls. So that's a really cool feature. And I think, you know, in this day and age of so many Zoom, Skype, general video calls, it's really useful to have a high quality 12 megapixel wide camera that is able to do some cool features like this. It's going to be good for business stuff and school stuff. The fact that it's ultra portable, I think is going to be really useful for a lot of people. I think if you're a creative person who is maybe going to lots of different sites, you can just whip this out of your pocket, take some notes, do a quick doodle, do a quick sketch. I think it's going to be really useful. This will still fit in a large pocket or very comfortably in a bag. It's official. It can fit in my pocket. It's a big, it kind of matches my shorts. I'm wearing Galaxy shorts for my Starlight iPad mini, and they're purpley, like the purple case, but not really. Anyway, whereas the 11-inch iPad Pro might be a bit big in terms of portability for some people, this, I think, no one's going to complain about portability. The obvious trade-off, of course, is whether the smaller size means that it's not going to be so practical for those design and creativity apps. I know that already in Photoshop on the 11-inch iPad Pro, I sometimes think, oh, I wish this screen was a little bit bigger. So I think that's going to be the issue with something like this. I think you're going to run out of space very quickly. If you are somebody who, like me, uses the iPads to read sheet music while playing an instrument, then this is probably going to be a bit small for you unless you have it on its side. If we just do a really quick comparison with the 11-inch iPad Pro, you can see this one, I feel like is going to be It is slightly thicker than the 11-inch iPad Pro, and the aspect ratio is a bit different, which means that the three main sizes of iPad, the mini, the 11 or the 10.9 inch, and then the 12.9 inch, are all sort of different ratios. So this new 8.3 inch screen is actually a bit more widescreen than what the 11 inch is, and the 11 inch is already a bit more widescreen than what the 12.9 inch is. So it kind of gets more square and less rectangular as they get bigger. So I don't know if you can tell from looking at this how much of a difference there is, but yeah, just a real quick comparison. I'll do a proper screen comparison in the comparison video, but that's sort of how it sizes up. And actually from this, it doesn't really look like it's much more widescreen, but I'm sure that it is. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. This may potentially take a really long time, so I'm just going to wrap up the video here. If you would like to see a more in-depth comparison and impressions on the iPad mini, please do keep an eye out for my comparison video where I will be comparing the iPad mini, the 11-inch iPad Pro, and the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and maybe even the 9.7-inch iPad Pro, which I will be working on just as soon as I finish working on this one, and maybe doing the university assignment that I have due in 6 days. But we'll see. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions, opinions, comments, etc., put it down in the comment section below. Feel free to give me a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel. You can click on this face. Here's another video. Yeah, okay, goodbye. I'm gonna start editing this.